Hey, fabulous people. Okay, so I want to debunk some of these claims that are being made by Trump sycophants. First of all, they keep on trying to make these defenses to Donald Trump's conduct and the reason why the imposter in the White House is going down in burning flames. Let me start with obstruction of justice. Okay, now listen. Yes, the imposter in the White House did commit obstruction of justice, and here is how we know. First of all, 18 days before Michael Flynn was fired, Sally Yates basically told the White House that Michael Flynn was compromised. They didn't fire him for 18 days. And when they fired him, the reason why they claimed that Michael Flynn was fired was because he lied to Mike Pence. Nothing was said. Not even one single solitary thing was said about him lying to the FBI until yesterday when the imposter in the White House decided to tweet out that the reason why he fired Michael Flynn was because he lied to Mike Pence and he lied to the FBI. Here's the problem. If he lied to the FBI, then why in the world would the imposter in the White House go to the director of the FBI and try to get the director of the FBI to withdraw that investigation against Michael Flynn? Okay, so Donald Trump knew, allegedly, that there was a bona fide criminal investigation into Michael Flynn because he knew that Michael Flynn had lied to the FBI. And then he tells the FBI to stop that criminal investigation against Michael Flynn. Obstruction. And then subsequently he says that his lawyer is the one who tweeted out that tweet, saying, basically admitting to obstruction of justice. Now, if his lawyer did tweet out that tweet, then the lawyer committed malpractice, legal malpractice, the lawyer should be disbarred. That's just pathetic. You basically just tweeted out something that incriminated your client. That you're getting disbarred. So the lawyer may want to rethink trying to protect the imposter in the White House. That might be something he wants to rethink doing, seriously. But nevertheless, that tweet that he tweeted out is not the kind of tweet that would have come out from a lawyer. The second thing that he did is that after he fires Michael Flynn and he goes to the FBI, the director of the FBI, James Comey, and tries to get him to stop the Flynn investigation, he also tried to stop the Russia investigation. And then he fires the director of the FBI because the director of the FBI would not stop the Flynn and Russia investigation. Then he goes on Lester Holt and says that when he thought about firing James Comey, he thought about the Russia investigation. So he knew that there was a bona fide investigation going on against him and people in his campaign. And he decided to fire him anyway. Obstruction. Okay, now, people keep on talking about the Flynn deal, and that Flynn had only pled guilty to minor things, minor claims. It's only making false statements. That's not even anything to do with Russia and nothing to do with collusion, and Trump had nothing to do with this, so this isn't a big deal. Let me just be very clear. Okay. Flynn got the sweetheart deal. He got the deal of the century. And the reason why he got the deal of the century is because he is a viable and necessary witness for Robert Mueller because he's going to take the imposter in the White House down in burning flames. And the reason why we know that is because if you look at the statement of offenses, it says additional offenses they could have charged him with. But they decided, if you look at the plea deal as well, go back and look at the plea deal, they decided they're not going to charge him for the things in the statement of offenses. So no, it was not just that he pled guilty to one claim. That's what a plea deal is. You don't plead to something that's going to be the same thing you would get when you go to trial. You're trying to get a better deal. That's the reason why you plead, right? So that's the reason what he did. He got a less charge because he was much more valuable to Robert Mueller. And another thing, there's no way that Michael Flynn is going to plead guilty if he felt that they did not have him dead to rights. He's not going to become a cooperating witness when he can go to trial and actually win at trial if he thought that Robert Mueller had nothing against him. It was a mutually beneficial situation. They both needed each other. So Robert Mueller had evidence and he needed someone to substantiate, someone to authenticate it. And I guarantee you it was Michael Flynn. And Michael Flynn did not just get that deal the night before and then all of a sudden he went and pled guilty. If you remember, Michael Flynn's attorney had decided to withdraw his support and information sharing with Donald Trump's attorney. At that time, they were trying to cooperate with Robert Mueller, so he probably at that time proffered a substantial amount of information that made him a credible and viable witness. And so Robert Mueller offered him the sweetheart deal after he proffered that stuff. And the stuff he proffered, he probably gave tangible, simultaneous evidence like, emails or text messages or a recording. That's the kind of stuff he probably was giving, or receipts or tickets and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that he was probably giving simultaneously, showing, look, I have the proof to bring the imposter down. And then there's the other claim that there's no proof of collusion. There's no proof of collusion. Congratulations, because there is no crime of collusion. And that is not what Robert Mueller is bringing against the imposter in the White House. He's not going to be, as a prosecutor, looking for non-existent crimes. What he's going to be looking at are actual crimes. And there's a multitude of things he's looking at. For example, defrauding the United States of America. It's conspiracy to commit fraud against the United States of America, committing computer crimes, witness tampering, perjury, obstruction of justice. He's looking at a multitude of other crimes. So congratulations when you consistently say that there's no collusion. Good for you, because that's not what Robert Mueller's looking at. So you don't have anything by saying there's no collusion. That's not an argument. That's not a defense. Robert Mueller is a prosecutor. A prosecutor is looking at crimes. Collusion is not one. Another thing, if you're saying that this boils down to credibility, that who's going to believe James Comey over Donald Trump? Let me just tell you something. Every jury in America would believe James Comey over Donald Trump. Every single jury in America would believe James Comey over Donald Trump. And if it comes down to credibility between Michael Flynn and the imposter in the White House, Michael Flynn's credibility will be believed over the imposter in the White House. Michael Flynn does not have a history of making false statements. He's got a great defense. Look, the minute I got engaged with this guy, look at how it happened to my life. My whole life got turned upside down. I was a general, et cetera, et cetera. You know the arguments. So that's what he's going to basically be able to do. But nevertheless, he does not have a history of making false statements. The imposter in the White House has a lifetime of making false statements and lying his damn ass off. So if it boils down to credibility, Donald Trump doesn't win on credibility when it comes to obstruction of justice. So they probably already have him on obstruction of justice anyway. That's not all Mueller's going for. And the final thing is impeachment. People keep on saying things like, oh, they'll never impeach him. They'll never impeach him. This Congress won't impeach him. They'll never impeach him. Look, this Congress right now doesn't have the spinal cord probably to do it because the 2018 election is coming around. And also their spinal cords are jello. So they really just don't have the backbone and able to do this right now. But if it comes out, and when it comes out, that the imposter in the White House committed crimes against the United States, that he conspired to defraud the United States, that he witness tampered, that he committed perjury, that he obstructed justice, when it comes on and on and on, that he committed computer crimes, that he committed mail fraud, et cetera, wire fraud, all this other stuff, when all those crimes start to come out against him, they're not going to have a choice. So therefore, MAGA, you don't have a defense to the imposter in the White House. You just don't have a defense anymore. Michael Flynn got the sweetheart deal because Michael Flynn has a lot to proffer, and Michael Flynn is going after the imposter in the White House, and Mueller is going after the imposter in the White House. Michael Flynn did not offer Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is someone who I think that Robert Mueller can get on his own, so he didn't need Michael Flynn to get at Jared Kushner. No. Jared Kushner, even though Jared Kushner could bring down the entire Trump administration, Jared Kushner knows everything too. But Michael Flynn is not the person that Robert Mueller needed to be able to bring down Jared Kushner when Robert Mueller basically already has Jared Kushner. He's got him by the balls anyway. And then you can go on to Donald Trump Jr. No, why would he need to use Michael Flynn to get to Donald Trump Jr. when he already has him? So the person that Michael Flynn was probably offering, and the reason why he got the deal of a lifetime, is because he was going to offer the imposter in the White House. Okay? And yes, he did commit obstruction of justice. I already laid it out for you. So yes, Flynn did get a sweetheart deal, and the reason why he did is not because it was only false statements that he made. And there is no such thing as collusion. And if it boils down to credibility of witnesses, Donald Trump won't win that. And will he be impeached? I've said this many times. He will never finish his entire first term as president. He will either be impeached, they'll invoke the 25th Amendment, or he will resign. And that are the facts.